Hello, everyone. My name is Samantha McClung. I am a graduate student working with the University of Minnesota Duluth, and today I'm going to be talking about per and polyfluoroalkyl substances, also known as PFAS. So PFAS are a group of man-made chemicals that are persistent, toxic, bioaccumulative, and mobile in all environmental media. PFAS have been observed in atmospheric samples, including wet deposition, which is just precipitation or rain and snow. There are known sources of PFAS, or known sources that contribute PFAS to the atmosphere. And we know that this transport of atmospheric PFAS is important because PFAS have been observed in remote locations such as the North and South Pole, remote lakes, and so on. So, as always, more work is needed to fully understand these sources, fate, and the potential transformation that these atmospheric PFAS undergo. So, what are some areas that could be more impacted by atmospheric PFAS inputs? The Great Lakes Basin is one of these sites. So, looking at the Great Lakes water budget, we can assess how important atmospheric inputs are to each lake. And so, in the figure on the right, you can see that the precipitation inputs, noted by the letter P, is generally greater than or equal to the runoff inputs, noted by the letter R, for all the Great Lakes except Lake Ontario. So this suggests that wet deposition could be an important input pathway to consider when assessing sources of PFAS contamination within our Great Lakes. So how did we study which PFAS have been introduced to atmospherically dominated lakes? This summer, we looked at sediment cores. So lake sediments are widely used to estimate historical contaminant load, and we collected a sediment core from a seepage lake in northern Minnesota just to get a baseline of what these atmospheric PFAS inputs can be. So this lake was ideal for this purpose because it is a precipitation-dominated lake, meaning no rivers or streams were discharging into it, and it also has a small watershed. Additionally, this lake has a bowl-like bathymetry, which just means we could collect one sample from the deepest point of the lake, and it should be representative of the whole system. Another thing to note is that this lake has very high organic matter in its sediments. As you can see in the figure in the top right, those vessels on the right-hand side are post-extraction, and there's still a yellow coloration, meaning we have a lot of dissolved organic matter that was not removed, which just makes PFAS analysis a little more complicated. So we extracted and analyzed targeted PFAS following a modified EPA 1633 method. Overall, we analyzed for 36 total PFAS, but only detected 8 species. So the PFAS in the image in the center of the screen are separated by chain length from C4 to C11. And overall, the concentrations of PFAS are low but detectable. And it is clear to see that perfluoral carboxylic acids are the dominant type of PFAS present. This is similar to what has been seen in wet deposition samples analyzed by the National Atmospheric Deposition Program. And it also suggests that this lake was a good candidate for assessing atmospheric PFAS inputs. Another observation is just that the newest sediment at the top of our core has the highest concentration as well as the largest variety of PFAS species. This is in line with the trends of industrial use of PFAS, as well as the observations that have been made in other lakes, including Lake Superior. So the overall goals for our project are to investigate wet deposited PFAS potential tracers, sources, and assess their importance to Great Lakes sediments. And to do this, we are collaborating with the EPA Great Lakes Sediment Surveillance Program to compare the Great Lakes PFAS sediment analysis to our seepage lake data. And additionally, we are working with the National Atmospheric Deposition Program to collect and analyze wet deposition for PFAS. In the map on the right-hand side, our sites are the purple icons, but we will also be leveraging data from all the other icons seen on that map to compare spatial differences of wet deposited PFAS. So if you would like to learn more about our project and see some of our references, please follow the QR code on the screen. And I would just like to thank you for your time, and I look forward to any questions on HUVA. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much.